Liverpool, who began the season with that "this is our moment" feeling, have lived through a roller coaster so intense that not even the most dramatic supporter could have predicted it. After the first 5 matches, the general impression was that the Reds had everything they needed to fight firmly at the top. Not because the performances were impeccable, far from it, but because the fighting spirit was there, showing up in decisive moments, especially in the late goals. These were points snatched almost by force, like someone refusing to let go of a dream. 7 straight wins in all competitions created a wave of confidence, but that wave turned into a raging sea before the team even realised it. The problem is that suddenly everything began slipping through their fingers. What had once been hard-fought victories turned into bitter defeats. Since their victory over Southampton in the League Cup back in September, Liverpool have managed to win only 3 times, a number that does not match the club's stature, nor the ambitious project Arne Slot courageously took on. 7 defeats in the last 10 matches have set off every possible alarm. In the Premier League, the team is stranded on 18 points, stuck in 8th place, with 6 wins and 5 losses weighing on their backs like stones. To make matters worse, Arsenal have opened an 8-point gap at the top, making it clear they are not waiting for anyone. Naturally, the heavy spending in the last transfer window, around £450 million in signings, has come flying back like a boomerang in Slot's direction, as he is pressured daily to justify every penny invested. But surprisingly enough, the long-awaited relief might be closer than many imagine. That is because, according to Opta, Liverpool didn't just have a difficult start. They had the most challenging one of all 20 Premier League clubs this season. The average difficulty of their first 11 fixtures reached an index of 93, the highest in the league, while Arsenal, the current leaders, had a far smoother ride with an average difficulty of 91. It might look like just a number, but it reflects the weight of facing, right from the start, a combination of matches that would wear down even the most established squad. Just look at the opponents in that run to understand the storm. Newcastle away, Arsenal at Anfield, Everton in the derby, Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, Manchester United at home, and Manchester City at the Etihad. It's like crossing a minefield barefoot, carrying a heavy suitcase while still trying to keep a smile on your face. No wonder Liverpool arrived in November so bruised. Even so, those 18 points do not mean everything is lost. The league's history proves it. There are still 27 matches to go, and even though no team have won the title after such an unstable start since Everton in 1987-88, many sides have managed to turn things around from positions just as bad or worse than Liverpool's current one. The season is long, exhausting, and full of unexpected turns. And this is exactly where the light at the end of the tunnel appears. After facing a near-cruel run, Liverpool now enter a much friendlier stretch of fixtures. It's as if the Premier League, after weeks of throwing punches, said, "All right, Reds, here are some chances to breathe. Make the most of them." Looking ahead at the next 11 matches, it's clear that there is real room for recovery, as long as the team find their rhythm, their confidence, and, most importantly, the courage to impose themselves again.
Of course, none of this will happen automatically. Theoretically easier matches do not mean guaranteed points. Slot knows it, the supporters know it, the players know it. But there is a massive difference between battling giants every single week and facing opponents who allow for mistakes, adjustments, and space to rebuild form and mentality. Between now and the end of the year, Liverpool have a genuine chance to rise from their own difficulties. The context, however, brings an extra challenge that cannot be ignored: the absence of Mohamed Salah. The star will be representing Egypt in the Africa Cup of Nations, meaning he will miss several key matches: Tottenham, Wolves, Leeds, Fulham, Arsenal, and Burnley. Depending on Egypt's campaign, this absence could last even longer. It's a heavy blow. Salah is the emotional and technical balance of the attack, and losing that pillar forces Slot to reinvent his offensive strategy. And there is yet another variable complicating the equation: the Champions League. Liverpool still have PSV at home Inter Milan away, and Olympique de Marseille away to deal with. In other words, this period isn't just about recovering in the league, it's about surviving and staying competitive on multiple fronts, while half the squad deals with accumulated fatigue and the other half tries to absorb the tactical changes introduced by the new manager. Despite all these layers of difficulty, one unquestionable truth remains. There is still time to react. There is room to climb the table. There is a real opportunity to fight for a top 4 spot and, who knows, even dare to dream of more. A strong run of results could completely change the club's energy before the turn of the year. The Premier League is unpredictable, and that always benefits those who know how to seize the right moment. For a team accustomed to fighting until the very last second, this new chapter of the season might be exactly the turning point Liverpool have been waiting for.
After turbulent weeks in which Liverpool faced an almost inhuman fixture list and finally began to glimpse a real chance of recovery, a new chapter now emerges, one that could completely reshape the direction of the club's rebuild. If before the concern centered on performances on the pitch and the search for stability, the focus now turns to something that always reignites the supporters' hope: elite reinforcements. And this time, the name entering the radar comes loaded with talent, potential, and a level of interest that grows by the day. The atmosphere at Anfield is one of turning the page, of deep, structural reconstruction, almost as if 2025 had been merely the prologue to something much bigger. Even after spending record amounts in the last transfer window and twice breaking their own transfer record, the Reds still haven't reaped everything Arne Slot envisioned. The team has evolved, yes, but clear gaps remain. The midfield needs renewal, the defence is living a moment of uncertainty, and on the wings, supporters feel the void left by Luis Diaz and, soon enough, by Mohamed Salah. And it is in this scenario of silent urgency and constant planning that the name keeping Liverpool's scouts awake at night begins to shine. Case Smit, the newest jewel of Dutch football. According to Soccer News in the Netherlands, Liverpool's interest in the 19-year-old midfielder has stopped being mere observation and has become something far more concrete. The club are seriously considering making a move in 2026, believing that Smit may be exactly what is missing to finalise the restructuring of the midfield. What makes the situation even more intriguing is the natural link between the player and Arne Slot. Smit plays for AZ Alkmaar, the manager's former club, and it was precisely within that environment, with its methodology, attacking style, and focus on young talent, that the youngster broke into the first team and caught Europe's attention. Not only has he established himself as an important piece, but he has shown a versatility that delights any modern coach. He can play as a deeper-lying playmaker, in more advanced midfield roles, or even out on the left-hand side. Always with the same consistency, the ability to progress play through vertical passes, clean ball carrying, and vision beyond his years. Smit's breakout became even more evident last summer when he shone at the Under-19 European Championship. Not only did he win the award for Best Player of the tournament, but he also finished as top scorer. The Netherlands lifted the trophy, but the biggest winner of the competition was the rising reputation of a teenager who, at 19, looks ready to take enormous strides. And of course, the competition recognizes this. Virtually every major club on the continent has already made inquiries, keen to understand both his ceiling and how quickly they must act before someone else secures the deal. But at Anfield, there is growing belief that Liverpool hold a valuable advantage. Slot's playing style matches Smit's profile almost perfectly. The transition would be almost seamless.
The coming months will bring plenty of movement, lengthy negotiations and hidden cards on the table. But one thing is certain: Liverpool see in Keith Smit not just a promise, but a pillar for the next stage of their rebuild. And if everything unfolds as they hope, he may well be the missing piece that transforms a turbulent season into a leap towards the future.